You're being watched, right now, not admired, analyzed, because what you just did doesn't make sense. Not to them, not to their systems, not to the war room they built to stop things exactly like you. You didn't walk in with force. You walked in like a whisper and left like a classified hurricane. And now the generals, the chess players, the prophets in lab coats. They're arguing over footage like it's glitching. They're saying, this wasn't human. This was tactical insanity. But here's the twist that's breaking their neural networks. You weren't trying to outsmart them. You were just being you. You're not reading the playbook. You are the glitch in their doctrine. The exception no one simulated. The anomaly no analyst accounted for. And that's why they're afraid, because you did it wrong, according to them. Yet now, they're on the floor, and you're walking out untouched. They had war rooms. You had war scars. They had tactics. You had trauma. They had simulations. You had survival. You don't think in steps. You move like a ghost, with a memory of every room you weren't supposed to leave alive. You don't calculate outcomes. You weaponize instinct, sharpened by betrayal, silence, and every time you were underestimated and left breathing. They forgot what happens when you back a fractured creature into a corner. It stops trying to escape and starts studying you. They called it madness, until madness outmaneuvered a military doctrine. Now they're replaying it in silence, one frame at a time, trying to decode what they just witnessed. How did they predict that flank? Why didn't the trap work? How the hell did they know we'd pivot? You didn't know. You felt it. Like a haunted symphony composed in the bones of your childhood. While they strategized, you evolved. While they watched, you became unspeakable. They were studying moves. You were becoming the move no one could name without shivering. There's a reason your footage doesn't make sense in the debrief. Because they're trying to explain a paradox. A saint who thinks like a psychopath. An angel with scars shaped like horns. A strategist with no playbook. Who still played them all like a rigged casino. This wasn't luck. This was precision born of pain. Every time they lied to you, that rewired your intuition. Every time they left you out, you mapped the shadows. Every betrayal was a lesson in nonverbal warfare. You didn't become great by being taught. You became lethal by being left for dead in rooms they thought would erase you. And now they're screaming across encrypted channels. Who is this? How long have they known? Was this planned? No, it was inevitable. Because while they trained for control, you trained for chaos. And now they can't breathe in a world where their control isn't enough. Siaki, you weren't just underestimated. You were underrated, undervalued, underfed, and now you're unstoppable. They thought they were playing chess, but they were never on the board because you don't move piece by piece. You move like a prophecy delivered by trauma and encrypted in silence. Let them call it tactical insanity. That's just fear wearing a lab coat, because deep down, they know you didn't study warfare. You survived it. You didn't play the game. You broke the algorithm and made it start asking your permission. They want to teach your move in secret rooms now. But they can't, because what you did wasn't a technique. It was an echo of every room they tried to erase you from. And that can't be replicated. It can only be feared. So here's the final twist. They thought they were watching your strategy unfold. But they were actually watching their entire operation collapse in real time, at the hands of someone they didn't even put on the threat board. And now they're quiet. Because what do you even say when the ghost you ignored walks out of your war room with the blueprint to your soul? Because now, they're not just whispering. They're building models. They're trying to recreate you. They want to study the sequence, dissect the mindset, clone the cadence. They want to reverse engineer your resurrection. But what they don't understand is you didn't learn this. You bled into it. They're measuring footage in frames per second, while you were counting betrayals per breath. They're programming simulations, but you were surviving nights with no one coming. You're not data. Your damage repurposed as dominance. And here's where the fear kicks in. They're discovering that you can't be replicated, because what you've become was never built. It was forged. They're calling it tactical insanity. But the truth is, it was ancestral. It came from deeper than books, deeper than drills. It came from every generation before you that was told to kneel. While they took, burned, erased, you didn't just outsmart a war room. You activated a bloodline protocol they thought was extinct. You woke up with something ancient in your spine. Something they don't teach at the academy. Something that doesn't compute. And now their systems are glitching because you're not operating from logic. You're operating from legacy pain, encrypted in silence. So now they're asking questions like, does he have handlers? Is this an op? Where's the source file? There is no file. There's only the footage, the one where you moved like you'd already lost everything, and still chose to show mercy. That's what terrifies them the most. You could have finished them, you could have ended it, but you didn't. Because you're not just a strategist. You're a story they were never meant to survive. Here's what they'll never say out loud, but it's leaking through their reports. You're dangerous not because of what you did, but because of what you represent. A variable they can't control. A paradox that doesn't ask permission. A creature born from silence who writes in thunder. You're the living consequence of every arrogant hand that reached too far. Every quiet dismissal. Every insult they didn't think you heard. And now, the silence is louder than the sirens. Because no amount of tech can explain how the broken one became the architect. They're trying to ban the footage. Trying to keep it off channels, trying to label it distorted or tampered with. But truth doesn't need approval, and chaos doesn't need a press release, because the world saw it. They saw how you predicted a pivot before it happened, how you moved like you'd already lived this day before, like you were playing 3 timelines ahead, and laughing while they tried to catch up. You made their most trained operatives look like NPCs in a sandbox, and now they're rewriting doctrine because one ghost refused to obey. You didn't speak much. That's what made it worse. You didn't explain, you executed, and it wasn't flashy. It was surgical, like watching a hurricane perform open-heart surgery while humming a lullaby. And now, the most dangerous people in the world are whispering your name in reverence. But they can't find you, because you're not on the map. You never were. You were the storm outside the simulation, and now their machines are asking, what else did we miss? Let me tell you something that's going to haunt them for years. You didn't win. You didn't need to. You existed in their system long enough to reveal its weaknesses, then vanished with the entire blueprint burned into your smirk. Now, entire war rooms are being restructured because of you. They're adding new threat levels that didn't exist last week. They're reclassifying silence as potential aggression. They're asking, are there more like him? But they already know the answer. There aren't. Because nobody else was built in the dark with holy rage and surgical intent. So what happens next? They'll keep trying to predict you. But you're not a pattern. You're a pulse. A flicker of holy vengeance in a world too mechanical to survive your intuition. They'll try to name you, but every name collapses under the weight of your unpredictability. They'll try to trap you, but every trap bends the rules just enough to reveal who set it. Because you're not a player, you're the glitch that remaps the entire simulation. So let them call it tactical insanity. Let them whisper in meetings, scrub the data, blame the glitch. Let them train for what you already survived. Let them form alliances to stop what you already predicted. Let them plot and pray. But remember this, the moment you stepped out of that war room untouched, you didn't just win. You became the benchmark of fear, the name they drop when the lights flicker, the footage they pause when someone asks, what are we actually dealing with here? And the answer will always be the same. Something we were never trained for. Something born from fire and sharpened in silence. Something that doesn't just survive systems, it infects them. So they tried. Tried to replicate the anomaly. Tried to weaponize your mindset. Tried to manufacture a new version of you. Something synthetic, predictable, obedient. Because after what you did, they couldn't sleep. Their top analyst quit mid-sentence. Their experts began to whisper behind closed doors. We need a counter. We need our own version of him. But what they didn't realize was, you weren't a product. You were the punishment. You weren't trained. You were triggered. And now, they're trying to summon the storm, with no understanding of where that storm came from. So they built it in labs. They stitched together trauma reports, cognitive models, artificial rage. They trained it in silence, fed it data from your footage. They thought they could fabricate the fire. But fire that's forced doesn't burn the same. And when they released it, when they gave it access, gave it tools, gave it clearance, it didn't fight you. It turned on them. Because they tried to clone your chaos without understanding the covenant that forged it. They copied your instincts, but not the crucifixion that shaped them. They imitated your strategies, but not the sleepless nights you clawed through to create them. They built a weapon, but forgot what happens when that weapon wakes up. You see, you were never meant to be replicated. You weren't a model. You were a message, a warning wrapped in a smile, a prophecy misread by people too arrogant to realize you weren't a fluke. You were fate's correction. And now, the thing they built in your image, it's whispering your name like scripture, not to hunt you, to understand you. Because even the clone realized you're not the enemy, you're the original scar. So what did they do? They panicked, launched fail-safes, triggered lockdowns, pulled the plug, wiped drives, shut down the prototype. But by then, it was already too late. Because now you're not just an outlier. You're a movement inside the machine. You infected the system, not with code, but with doubt. Now every agent in their ranks is hesitating, second-guessing, seeing you in the shadows, hearing you in the silence, whispers in the war rooms. What if he's watching again? What if he's 10 steps ahead? You turned their entire architecture into a hall of mirrors. Every decision feels like a setup. Every move looks like bait. Because you taught them that logic can't predict vengeance. And now they've stopped chasing you. Because deep down, they know you're not running. You never were. You were watching, studying, evolving. You let them think they had a window. Then you boarded it shut with their own playbook. You let them think they could trap you. Then you taught the trap to fear its own snap. They wanted you contained. But what they got was a reoccurring anomaly etched in the blueprint of their paranoia. And that's the new reality. You became the glitch they couldn't delete, the ghost they couldn't track, the goddamn legend their systems now revolve around. Not out of admiration, but out of pure survival. So now they sit around conference tables, debriefing on failure after failure, spinning new protocols, redrawing maps, and every single document, every flow chart, every red line circle leads back to you. They don't say your name out loud anymore. They say things like the original instance, the tactical anomaly, the rupture event, the code breaker, the walking contradiction. Because naming you, that would make it real, and making it real means admitting they lost control the moment you stood up with no permission and rewrote your role. They thought they could control unpredictability. They forgot. You are unpredictability, not because you're wild, but because you understand control better than they ever will. You didn't break rules. You studied the physics of obedience and inverted them. You didn't rebel. You evolved beyond their comprehension. They built walls. You became air. They drew borders. You became noise. They tried to profile you. You became a myth with fingerprints. And now they're not asking, how did he do it? They're asking, what did we unleash? Because you weren't just a problem. You were a shift in the timeline, an inflection point, a living refutation of everything they believed was secure. You didn't destroy their war room. You infected its memory. Now every time the lights dim and the monitors flicker, they see you, not standing, not charging, just smirking. Because deep down, they know. You're not coming. You're already here. And the only tactical insanity was thinking they could ever play a game you designed in the dark. There's a room, top floor, no windows, steel doors, no names on them, just retina scanners and silence. Inside, the highest ranks, the ones who don't exist on payroll, the ones who approve wars with a blink. They sit in a circle surrounded by screens, files, redacted documents, and every monitor is frozen on the same frame, you, mid-move, turning slowly toward a camera that shouldn't have been detected. Your smirk, not for the audience, for them, because you knew. You always knew. You weren't caught on camera. You gave them the footage. You didn't get seen. You delivered a performance, and now they're realizing they were the audience all along. Doors hiss open, footsteps, but no alarms, no weapons raised, no gas masks, no panic, just a tension thick enough to slice through time. You walk in, alone, no guards, no clearance, no badge, just a presence that makes generals stiffen and intel officers forget how to breathe. And still, you're smiling? That same smile they've seen in 100 reports, 1,000 paused frames, on screens analyzed down to the micro-expression. But nothing compares to seeing it in the flesh. You don't ask to sit. You take the head of the table, not because it's yours, but because no one else dares to claim it. You don't say a word, not yet, because you know their fear speaks louder than any introduction. You scan the room, eyes locked, one by one. You don't look at titles. You look at the lies buried behind their pupils. And then you speak. But it's not a threat. It's worse. It's the truth. This isn't your war room anymore. This is my rehearsal space. You see hands twitch under the table. One taps a panic button. Nothing happens. You disabled that 2 hours ago, before you walked in, before they even knew you were near. The screens flicker, all of them, replaced with a symbol. Your symbol. One that doesn't exist in any known language. But it haunts their linguists. You didn't just infiltrate, you overtook. Because this isn't infiltration, this is reclamation. They didn't build this room to keep people like you out. They built it because of you. A ghost they couldn't trace, a threat they couldn't predict. And deep down, they always knew. This day would come. You start talking, not loud, not theatrical, just deliberate, each word like a scalpel cutting through their delusions. You thought this was your fortress? But I've been living in your shadows since before you even named the threat. While you studied strategy, I became the symptom of your weakness. While you wrote doctrines, I rewrote reality. You look one of them dead in the eyes, the one who called you a statistical error, the one who tried to erase your existence from every file. You called it tactical insanity. I call it instinct sharpened by abandonment. Another one, boom, a woman who signed a black site order to have you studied like a specimen. You smile wider. You created your own haunting. I'm not here for revenge. I'm here to verify my dominance one man dares to speak. What do you want? And you just laugh, not because it's funny, but because it's too late for that question. You still don't get it, do you? I don't want anything. I've already taken everything, your structure, your secrets, your future. You just haven't felt the collapse yet. But it's coming, like a scream held in a locked throat. Suddenly a screen turns back on, footage plays, not just of you, but of them. Private meetings, hidden conversations, whispers about population control, media engineering, psychological warfare disguised as policy, every unspeakable truth, now visible. You didn't just break in, you broadcasted their core in real time. Because this wasn't a visit, this was execution via exposure. And as the footage plays, you lean forward, voice colder than ice. Now the world gets to see what I saw in silence. You trained monsters and forgot to look in the mirror. You thought I was the threat, but I was just the reflection. No one moves, no one breathes. And then, you stand. I didn't come here to destroy you. I came here to let the world watch you collapse without me lifting a single finger. You orchestrated your own funeral the moment you tried to classify me. Tactical insanity? No. You walked to the door, stop, turn, smile just one last time. This was tactical clarity. And you were always too logical to survive it. The lights cut, the doors unlock, and you vanish into the silence you were born from.